Hello, dear students. Welcome to the session and welcome to my newly launched EdTech startup in Thrive the Learning app. In the previous session, I discussed introduction and syllabus part of network theory. In this session, I am going to discuss basics of electric circuit. So in today's session, first we will see what is the difference between network and circuit. Then we will see what is source and load. Then we will discuss resistor, inductor, capacitor, and at last we will discuss linear, active and bilateral element. So before starting the session, here is a small introduction about me. Myself, Mayank Kumar, educator and founder of this app. I have the teaching experience of 4 years. I have the industrial experience of 1 year. I have worked in one of the renowned public sector undertaking company under Government of India EESL. I have done masters from NIT Patna in electrical engineering. I have qualified GATE 8 number of times and I have also cleared PSU exam. I have mentored more than 10,000 students. My areas of expertise are network theory, power electronics, power systems, machines and control systems. So let's begin the session. Those who are Hindi medium students, for them the lecture is available in the separate folder. So let's start with network and circuit. What do you mean by network and circuit? So let us see electric network. Interconnection of different electrical elements. Suppose you have many 10, 15, 20 number of electrical elements in your hand. Now if you interconnect, that means you are connecting the elements with each and other in any manner. In any manner is called electric network. Okay. Next, what is the meaning of electric circuit? So it is saying that interconnection of electrical elements in such a way that it forms closed loop, in which it is saying now it is compulsory that there must be a closed path if you are connecting the electrical elements for circuit, in which current either flows or intended to flow. It's called electric circuit. What is the meaning of intended to flow? Intended to flow means, suppose you have constructed a circuit and you have placed a switch. When the switch is off, current is not flowing. When switch is on, the current will flow. So that is called intended to flow. That means when switch is off, then also it is called electric circuit. So what is the main difference between electric network and electric circuit? In electric circuit, there must be a closed path. There must be a closed path, but for the case of electric network, closed path is not necessary. Closed path is not necessary. It's not necessary. That means there may be closed path or there may not be closed path. Don't worry for closed path. Clear? So now I'm giving you some statements. First statement is all the circuits are network. All the circuits are network. Yes, this statement is correct. Second statement, all the networks are circuit. No, because for circuit there must be closed path. So all the networks can't have closed path. Third statement, some of the networks are circuit. Yes, this statement is correct. This statement is correct. Some of the networks are electric circuit. So please note this statement. All the circuits are network, but vice versa is not true. Opposite is not true, but all the circuits are network. So this is about network and circuit. Let us discuss source and load. So let us see what is source and what is load. If you define source, source means what? The element that can deliver the electric power continuously is called source. Why I am placing the term continuously? If I don't place the term continuously, then somebody will come to you and they will say inductor is also a source. How? If inductor is source, So it can deliver power for how much time? 1 second, 2 second, 3 second, like that only, because inductor is charging and then it is discharging. Later on we will discuss about inductor also. Source means that can deliver the power continuously. But yes, sometimes in transient analysis we'll say that inductor is acting as source because it is delivering power for some time. So if something which is delivering the power, it's called source. For example, you have the generator, you have the generator, you have battery. These are called sources, and in sources also we'll have voltage source, you will have current source. We'll have voltage source, we'll have current source, and later on we'll discuss independent source and dependent source. So this is about source. Next is load. What is the meaning of load? Load means in electrical engineering the appliances which you are using or connecting across the supply, that is called load. So what these appliances are doing, they are consuming power, is called load. Now in power I am mentioning two powers. One is active power, another one is reactive power. What is the meaning of active and reactive power? Active power means it is the real form of power, it is the true form of power. And if you talk about resistor, so resistor is consuming active power, that is I square R. Clear? Now what about reactive power? It is a imaginary power. Later on we will discuss about this, but right now why I am writing this? I am writing this so because if you talk about inductor, so what inductor is doing? It is not consuming any active power. It is not consuming any active power, but this inductor is consuming reactive power. It is consuming reactive power. So even if it is consuming reactive power, it will be called load. Similarly, capacitor also it consumes reactive power, so that is also called load. Clear? So both resistor, inductor, capacitor, all are called loads. But for some special cases, sometimes it is being treated as source like inductor and capacitor. So this is about source and load. Next, let us discuss resistance. So what is resistance? It is the property of material that opposes flow of current in a circuit. That opposes flow of current in a circuit. Its unit is ohm. Its unit is ohm. It is the property that opposes flow of current. Clear? Now, what I'm trying to tell you that it only opposes the flow of current. It means it does not block the flow of current. It does not block the flow of current. It simply opposes the flow of current. Do you know the meaning of opposing and blocking? Suppose in the parliament, the party who are in opposition, so what they are doing, they are just opposing all the bills which governments try to pass. And it's not for the ruling party right now. Previous also, when 10 years 15 years back if you go, that time also opposition parties, what they are doing, they are just opposing the policy of government. But what do you see, most of the time government passes all the bills. So opposition doesn't mean they will block. This is resistance. This is the symbol of resistance. And if you see, this path is called zigzag. This path is called zigzag. Now, in interview, they may ask you why the resistance symbol is like this. So, what will be your answer? Your answer will be this is current I. Now, its job is to oppose the current. So, opposition the current means it is the path will be shown like zigzag. If you are showing the path like zigzag, so anybody can come and they can see that okay, there is some resistance for the flow of current. That's why its path is zigzag. Now, resistor is an energy dissipating element. Resistor is an energy dissipating element. What is the meaning of energy dissipating? It means it consumes energy, and the power lost in the resistor is called I square R. I square R. And what is happening to this power? If there is some loss, it is being converted into heat energy. It is being converted into heat energy. If you touch an electric bulb, So what happens? You find that it is heated. Why? Because there is I square R loss. So I square R loss, where it will go? It will be converted into another form. Energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. It can be converted to another form. So I square R, that means electrical energy is being converted into heat energy. So resistor is an energy dissipating element. If you write the formula of resistance, it is equal to rho into L by A. What is L? L is length of wire and A is area of cross section of wire. Suppose this is the wire, so its cross sectional area pi r square. Cross sectional area, that means circle's area, is called area of cross section. Rho is resistivity. What is the unit of resistivity? Its unit is ohm, its unit is meter, its unit is meter square. So to balance this one, what should be the unit of rho? Its unit should be ohm meter. Ohm meter. Next one is reciprocal of resistance is called conductance. Yes, and its symbol is G. Capital G is equal to 1 upon R. Capital G is equal to 1 upon R. Reciprocal of resistance is called conductance. I hope it is clear to you. Again, reciprocal of resistivity is called conductivity. Sigma equal to 1 upon rho. Sigma is equal to 1 upon rho. Clear? Now, if conductivity of a material is high, it means that material is good conductor of electricity. So now, which material has highest conductivity? Which material has highest conductivity? So I am writing the order of conductivity of some materials. Order of conductivity of some materials. Some materials. So what I am writing? Silver. Silver has the highest conductivity. Silver, then copper, silver, copper, then gold, then aluminium, then aluminium. Silver, copper, gold, aluminium. Silver has the highest conductivity, then copper, then gold. Gold is on third position. Third position. Clear? Gold is good for jewelry. We are not using gold here in electrical engineering for wire purpose. Clear? Next is inductance. Now here I'll explain one very beautiful concept, why inductor does not allow sudden change in current. So let us define inductance. What is inductance? And first thing, why I am writing all the definitions? Because if you are knowing the definitions, then the concepts are very clear to you. And I am not telling you to divert these definitions. Just try to understand how I am trying to define all these terms. So inductance is the property of electrical material that opposes change in current. That opposes change in current. What is the difference between resistance and inductance? Resistance, it opposes current. It opposes current. And it is opposing change in current. That means, suppose 2 ampere of current is flowing through the material. Then inductance, it doesn't have any problem. Okay, it is saying, okay, 2 ampere current is flowing, let it flow. Now what happens in the circuit, if with some arrangement, if you suddenly try to change the value of current to 3 ampere, then it will oppose. Then inductor will oppose. It will say that I won't let you to change the current suddenly. So that is called the property of inductor. Inductance. Its unit is Henry, the name of scientist. Let us define inductor. So what is inductor? It is an electrical element that stores energy in presence of magnetic field. In presence of magnetic field, they store the energy. So when magnetic field is possible, if there is current, if there is current, if current is there, suppose current is flowing through this one, thumb is here, it is showing current. So this circular, this your fingers, circulating fingers, this will show the direction of magnetic field. So there will be magnetic field lines like this. So if there is magnetic field, then inductor will store energy. Hence, the stored energy by the inductor is called magnetic energy. And next, it is kinetic form of energy. This magnetic energy is kinetic form of energy. Why? Because it has been stored due to motion of charged particles. Why? Because it is being stored due to motion of charged particles. Current means what? Current means charged particles are traveling. Current means charged particles are moving. So because of motion of charged particles, here is kinetic form of energy. Its formula is 1 by 2 Li square. And if you compare with the kinetic energy which you learned in physics, see there you learned 1 by 2 mv square. Which velocity? Here I is also the current. Clear? So this is about inductor. So now let us see why inductor does not allow sudden change in current. For this is the inductor. It is simply a coil. Now I am connecting a battery. I am connecting a battery V. When the battery is connected, it is trying to inject a current I. And suppose this is very fresh inductor. This was purchased by your professor in laboratory yesterday, and today you are entering to laboratory at 10 a.m. and you start doing the experiment on inductor. You take the inductor, you connect a supply, and you turn on the switch. So before that, current through inductor was 0, inductor was at rest. Now since it was at rest, at 10 am you are going to laboratory and you are turning on the supply. The moment you switch on the supply, it is trying to push the current I, but this inductor is not ready to accept the current. This inductor is not ready to accept the current at 10 am. Why? Because inductor, what happens if there is current? Then there will be magnetic field lines in the inductor. How magnetic field lines are created? If current is flowing, if this is the coil, if current is flowing like this, then this thumb will represent north pole of the magnet. That means the inductor behaves as magnet. It's its north pole, it is its south pole. So there will be magnetic field lines like this if there is current. So what happens? The development of magnetic field lines is not an instantaneous process. It is gradual process. If it is gradual process, so at 10 am magnetic field lines are 0. So it won't accept any current. Current will also be 0. Current will also be 0. Now gradually magnetic field lines are increasing. Suppose 1, 2, 3, 4, like this number of field lines are increasing, and hence it will start taking the current accordingly. So I am writing very special point here, the reason why inductor does not allow sudden change in current. What I am writing the reason? Development of magnetic field lines is gradual process. Hence inductor does not allow sudden change in current. Or you can say inductor opposes change in current. Clear? Now somebody will say that suppose you have an inductor which was carrying current of 5 ampere. So for 5 ampere current, suppose there are 100 field lines. Now suddenly with some special arrangement you are going to reduce the current to 2 ampere. So if you are reducing the current to 2 ampere, So field lines should also be reduced to 40. Its number should be reduced to 40. But from 100 to 40, again it will take time. Again it will take time. Hence, the change of current from 5 ampere to 2 ampere will also take some time. That's why you can say inductor does not allow sudden change in current. So this is all about inductor and inductance. So I hope you can very easily answer in the interview that why inductor does not allow sudden change in current. Next is capacitance. This is also one of the very important element of electrical engineering, and today is very special class that you are attending, because today I'll tell you that inside the capacitor how current is flowing inside the plates of capacitor, because in inside plates capacitor you are having dielectric medium. So in dielectric medium how the current conduction is possible. So I'll explain you the Maxwell's experiment also in capacitance part. It's a very interesting story. So what is capacitance? It is the property of electric material that opposes change in voltage. Capacitance is a property that opposes change in voltage. Inductor opposes change in current. Resistor opposes flow of current. Its unit is farad, the name of scientist. Let us define capacitor. So capacitor is an electric element that stores energy in presence of electric field. If there is electric field, then capacitor will store energy in presence of electric field. This is about capacitor. Clear? Now, stored energy by the capacitor is called electrostatic potential energy. What does it mean? It means since there is electric field, and what happens to capacitor? Suppose this is the symbol of capacitor. If you apply voltage, then only capacitor will store energy. If you are applying electric potential, then capacitor will store energy. Hence, it is called electrostatic potential energy. Clear? So next, let us see. It is potential form of energy because it has been stored due to electrostatic potential. The same concept. Next, let us discuss capacitor. How to construct capacitor? The capacitor, two plates are connected in parallel. There are many different types of capacitor. Right now I am discussing parallel plate capacitor. The plate is like this. This is the plate. This is the plate. Clear? So there are two plates like this only. This two plates, and it is separated by some distance. And in between the plates, what is there? It is insulating medium, or you can say it is dielectric medium. It is dielectric medium. What is the meaning of dielectric medium? Dielectric medium means current can't flow through this. Current can't flow through this. Clear? Current cannot flow through this because this is insulator. Now what happens? You have the capacitor and you are connecting a voltage source. You take a capacitor and connect a voltage source. If this is voltage source, this is positive terminal, this is negative terminal. So what happens? The positive terminal of the battery will supply positive charge. Negative terminal of the battery will supply negative charge. So here one positive charge has reached, one negative charge has reached. After that, line is blocked because insulator is there. This is the insulator. This is the insulator. Now what will happen? This is insulator. Now what will happen? Now you can say that when the charge is flowing, there is current. There is current. Here also there is current. Just opposite to direction of electron. But inside the capacitor, what do you see? You see that there is no any current. So when Ampere did the experiment, so because of his law, according to his law, the current through capacitor was zero. So initially it was known to everyone that inside the plates of capacitor current is 0, but everybody was saying that when we connect the capacitor, so there is current. And what is the current? They were saying that there is current up to this point only, but after that there is no current. So how is it possible? So what happened? Maxwell came and he started thinking on this one. So he thought that how is it possible that there is current at point A, there is current at point B, but there is no current inside this one. He thought that it cannot be possible. There must be some current. But what was the main reason? Since this is the insulator, so how can you say that movement of charge is possible? So what Maxwell did, he took one magnetic needle. He took one magnetic needle and he placed the magnetic needle here. He placed the magnetic needle here. So, and he switched on the supply. So what he observed, that there is deflection in the magnetic needle. Here is the deflection in magnetic needle for some time, for at the starting. Again the needle stops. So what he thought, if there is deflection in magnetic needle, it means there is magnetic field. It means there is magnetic field. So what Maxwell said, Maxwell, he said that there is magnetic field. There is magnetic field. When he told there is magnetic field, and he started telling everybody that I have did the experiment and there is magnetic field. So people said that okay, there is magnetic field, so what will happen? He told that magnetic field itself means there is current. If there is current, then only there will be magnetic field. So if there is magnetic field, then only there will be current. So, but people were laughing at him. Why? Because how is it possible that current is flowing in an insulator? So again, what's his explanation? Again, now he tried to prove how current is flowing. He tried to prove how current is flowing. So for proof of current, he started thinking. So then what he thought? He thought that there is current and this current is I. Now what happens when the charges are moving? So here the charges are accumulating on plates. Positive side, positive charge, negative side, negative charge. So charges are accumulating. If charges are accumulating, there is electric field. There is electric field. Now what happens, since the number of charges are increasing, so you can say strength of electric field is increasing. Strength of electric field is increasing, or you can say the electric field is changing. So you can say that there is change in electric field. There is change in electric field. He observed that there is change in electric field. Now he told if there is change in electric field, there will be magnetic field. Change in electric field will produce magnetic field. Okay. Change in electric field, there is magnetic field. Again, a challenge was there for him. If there is magnetic field, then there must be current. There must be current. Again, he told that because of changing electric field, there is magnetic field. If there is magnetic field, there is current. But again, he had to derive the expression for current. So what he did, to prove the whole world, he changed the definition of current. Till now, people were saying that the movement of charge is called current. The movement of charge is called current. He told that there are two types of current from now. One current is the movement of charge. This is called conduction current. He told that this current is called conduction current due to flow of charge. But there is another current. Here there is no any movement of charge, there is no any flow of charge, but there is current. What kind of current? He told the name of this current will be displacement current. The name of this current will be displacement current. Now everybody got surprised. What is displacement current? So for that he derived the expression. For the expression he derived, he written id equal to epsilon, that is permittivity of the medium, into d phi e upon dt. D phi e upon dt. He told this is displacement current, and since this is conduction current, its value is IC, and here it is displacement current, its value is ID. So IC must be equal to ID. So he proved that one, and he is saying that IC is equal to ID. If the current is 2 ampere here, so here also this current will be 2 ampere according to Maxwell. According to Maxwell, what is phi? This is electric flux, and it is nothing but E dot A. That means electric field dot area. Area, cross sectional area. So here it is phi equal to E into A. E into A. Clear? So from here if you write ID, it will be equal to epsilon into D of EA divided by dt. So now if you are changing the dielectric medium, so the current will change phi, because this epsilon is equal to written as epsilon naught into epsilon r, permittivity. This is permittivity of vacuum, and this is the relative permittivity. So this is the concept of Maxwell. He told that there are two currents, one is conduction and one is displacement current. Clear? So from now onwards, if anybody asks you in interview that how capacitor, how there is current in capacitor, so what you'll have to tell, up to point A, conduction current is there. From point A to point B, between these plates, displacement current is there, and that displacement current is also equal to conduction current, and this displacement current is only due to change in electric field. So if you see, if you are connecting a DC supply, so DC supply means initially voltage was 0, suddenly the voltage is changed to 10 volt. So what will you see? You'll observe that there is change in electric field. If there is change in electric field, there will be magnetic field. Because of magnetic field, there will be displacement current. Now if you are connecting an alternating supply, so alternating supply, all the time electric field is changing. Why? Because voltage is changing, so electric field strength is changing. If electric field strength is changing, current will be changing. So this is the reason why capacitor blocks DC and capacitor allows AC. So many number of questions I think I have discussed here for capacitor and inductor, and these are really very special questions. And if you are appearing in the interviews of ISRO, DRDO, BARC, so there the scientists can ask you this kind of questions, because they want to know whether you have the clear understanding of physics or not, because engineering is the application of physics. So next, let us define linear element. What is linear element? Electrical elements in which current and voltage are proportional to each other either in time domain or in frequency domain are called linear elements. Current and voltage are proportional. I is proportional to V. In which domain? Either in time domain or in frequency domain. Or in frequency domain means Laplace domain, you can say, that means S, or in both the domains. For example, if you take resistance, so what do you see? In resistance, current is proportional to voltage is proportional to current. This is called linear element. So resistance is linear. Now next term is inductance, or simply inductor. So what about inductor? In the case of inductor, you write Vs equal to Ls into Is in Laplace domain. Hence you can say here also Vs is proportional to Is. It is called linear. Hence inductor is also linear element. Now I am giving you second explanation. In inductor, if there is current, there will be flux. Magnetic flux is proportional to I, or phi equal to Li. That means here flux is directly proportional to current. You can say inductor is also linear device. Next one is capacitor. Next one is capacitor. So what about capacitor? In capacitor you write Vs equal to 1 upon Cs into Is. Clear? So here also voltage is proportional to current, or in the case of capacitor what happens, you are applying voltage, the charge is being accumulated at the plates and that charge is proportional to V, or you can say Q is equal to CV. So capacitor is also linear device, capacitor is also linear elements. Now what is non-linear elements? In non-linear elements, in non-linear elements, current is not proportional to voltage. Current is not proportional to voltage. If you see the example will be diode. Diode is non-linear element because in the negative cycle, means if voltage is negative, the current is zero, and if voltage is positive, then only there is current. So diode is non-linear. Next one is active element. What is the meaning of active person? If you are active, means what? The whole day you can perform any work, any task, any duty. That means you are an active person. So active elements that can either deliver the power continuously, or can amplify the input. See this one, can amplify the input signal continuously, are called active elements. Electrical elements that can either deliver the power continuously or can amplify the input signal continuously are called active elements. For example, you have a battery. So what do you know about battery? Battery can deliver the power continuously, so it is active element. Now if you talk about inductor, so somebody says inductor is active element, but no, inductor is not an active element. Why? Because inductor cannot deliver the power continuously. Okay, it can just it stores power and it can deliver for few seconds. So that is not an active element. So what is active element next? Next active element is transistor and op-amp. Why these are active elements? Because here two things are written. One is they can deliver the power, means battery. Now they can amplify the input signal. Some input signal is provided to transistor and op-amp. They are going to amplify the signal, and that amplification is the continuous process. So op-amp and transistors are the example of active elements. So in the exam, if they are asking the question which of the following is are active elements, they will write inductor, capacitor, transistor, op-amp. So out of four options, transistor and op-amp will be the correct options. I hope it is clear. Next is bilateral element. What is bilateral element? The element through which current can flow from any side is called bilateral element. Very simple definition. Current can flow from any side. If this is the element, suppose this is element, if you apply voltage, positive voltage at this terminal, the current will flow like this. If you apply positive voltage at this terminal, current will flow like this. So that type of element is called bilateral element. Second point is magnitude of current is independent of polarity. What does it mean? It means you have a resistor, its value is 2 ohm. You have a battery, you are connecting a battery like this. Now this is 10 volt. So what will happen? 10 by 2, 5 ampere of current will flow through resistor. Again you take the resistor, same resistor 2 ohm. Now this time you are connecting the battery in reverse direction. So reverse direction, what will happen? Again this is 10 volt. Again there will be current of 2 ampere. This current will be from right to left. So magnitude of current is not changing with change in polarity. So this is the second point. Now if you take the example of unilateral, the elements which are not bilateral are called unilateral. Unilateral elements means what? Unilateral elements means, suppose you have a diode. If you have a diode, so for diode, what do you see? This is the diode, this is the diode. For this diode, current can flow through this direction, but current can't flow in opposite direction. Current is not possible. Hence, this is called unilateral element. So, when you will study network theorems, Thevenin's, Norton's, maximum power transfer theorems, there you will read the term linear active bilateral network. What does it mean? A network which consists of linear active and bilateral elements. So I think it is very clear to you what is linear active and bilateral network, and you have already studied about resistance, inductance and capacitance, and now you can very easily say why inductor does not allow sudden change in current. How can you prove there is current between the plates of a capacitor, and what is displacement current, and why capacitor does not allow sudden change in voltage. So I hope you really enjoyed the session. Again, in next session we'll continue the basics of electrical element. So thank you for attending my session.